which is it? Let's go to Kevin Hassett, the president of Trump's Council of Economics advisor, former chairman there. Well, what is it, Kevin? Of course, Larry Summers has serious concerns that something like this would make inflation worse. What do you think?
Yeah, it will make inflation worse because basically right now there are a lot of students all around the country that are paying off their student debt a little bit at a time. And if that's forgiven, then they're going to have an extra, $300 to $1,000 a month that they can spend on other stuff. And so that'll increase the demand for things. At the same time, the Biden administration with their corporate tax hikes and so on, they've been attacking supply. So if you feed demand and attack supply, that's inflationary. And I think Larry Summers is right about that.
You mentioned the corporate tax hike. The administration is quick to point out it would be only on those companies that do not pay any taxes right now, the 15% minimum tax it's talking about, and the 1% tax on stock buybacks would be, in their words, infinitesimal and have no impact on average folks. What do you say to that?
Right. Well, the idea about the minimum tax really is that it makes it so that U.S. companies are disadvantaged vis-a-vis multinationals all around the world because we've got this minimum tax that hits them regardless of where they do business. And so what's going to happen is that U.S. located firms are going to either invert, they're going to move to other countries, or they're going to lose business to companies from other countries. And that's a very well-established pattern in the empirical literature. And so I don't really know why they think it's not going to have much of an effect. And finally, you have to say that it's getting a little tiresome to listen to the Biden administration go out there and run arguments past the American people that have the sign wrong on the effects of what they're talking about. And so, Larry Summers is hardly a partisan. To have Brian Deese out there, making arguments that somehow, the forgiving student debt is not going to be inflationary, it's really propaganda and misinformation. And it's something that I think that the media and economists around the country should condemn.
I'm wondering, too, those economists who say that the administration will indeed be able to reduce inflation and deficits going forward as a result of the Inflation Reduction Act. You could pick economists to take any point of view. I get that, and administrations do that. But in this case, it does seem like a bit of a stretch. First of all, for anything, a large spending program out of Washington actually reducing inflation. But what do you think?
Yeah, we all learned that. We've seen it over the years. So somebody who's been watching the economy and markets as long as you have seen the ups and downs, and it's just not how it works. But here is how it works, Neil. This is what we're about to see. You and I talked a long time ago when people didn't believe inflation was here to stay, and I said on your show, inflation's here to stay. Yes, well, right now inflation is declining because we are in a recession or close to a recession. I think that GDP now for the third quarter is showing something that's going to end up looking negative as well. 3 negative quarters in a row. It's got to be a recession. But what happens is you go into a recession, the demand for stuff goes down because people don't have the money to take trips and so on, so the price of gas goes down, and inflation starts to decline. And then the question that markets they're going to have, they're going to say, oh, geez, well, where does the inflation decline stop? And where the inflation decline stops is whatever the wage inflation rate is. Okay, and so right now the wage inflation rate is 5-6%, and so inflation is going to decline over the next 6 months to 5 or 6%. You can come back and play the clip. I promise you this is what's going to happen. While it's going down, the administration is going to say, hey, our inflation reduction thing worked, but we're going to get stuck at 5 or 6%, and the way you go below that is with a big increase in unemployment. And so we're in the second stage of this recession where inflation declines to the wage inflation rate, and the third stage is going to be when wage inflation starts to decline because unemployment is so high. So that's where we really are. With all the spin and everything else, it can be easy to lose track of the simple facts of that. That's the story. That's where we are.
Kevin, it's a more political question, so you're free to, poo-poo it. But Donald Trump has always held you in high regard. You've avoided some of the rap that has come upon other officials who used to work with him. And it got me thinking, it happens sometimes, Kevin, that maybe if he were to get back in the White House, he'd want to make you his Treasury Secretary. What do you think of that? All I can say is that Donald Trump surprised the heck out of me when I went into the White House. I didn't know him at all. I didn't work on his campaign. When he asked me to come in and be his top economist, I felt a duty to my country to do so. And as I went into the White House and began to work with him, I
grew to be good friends with him. I think he's a very fun guy to work with. He's very smart, and if he were to invite me back to work again, if he were elected, then I'd take it seriously. But I'd be happy to help him from the outside as well. I'm getting kind of old, Neil, just like you.
See, be careful, young man. So let me just clarify that. All the other stuff notwithstanding, if he enters the race, would he be your candidate?
That I've tried as an economist not be partisan, but I can't not support President Trump.
Right.
Once you're a person on that team, then you have to stay on that team. But again, if people that don't like President Trump and the Democratic or Republican Party want to have a private conversation with me about how the economy is doing, I will continue to do that and continue to respect the privacy of the people who reach out.
Kevin Hassett, thank you very much. Good